Coming up on today's wrestling news, Bobby Lashley is All Elite.
The main event of Bad Blood is confirmed.
An update on Daniel Garcia's future.
And Mr. Beast in WWE.
Ooh, I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Phil Chambers.
And this is the news. So let's talk Hurt Syndicate to start off with. Obviously, MVP is already there. We saw Shelton Benjamin on Dynamite this week.
Huge pop.
We all assume Bobby Lashley is next to appear, and that has been confirmed by a Fightful Select report that says, well, actually, he signed with AEW weeks ago and is set to appear imminently, which is very, very exciting. Remains to be seen whether or not he's going to show up before or even at Wrestle Dream. But yes, Bobby Lashley has signed with All Elite Wrestling after leaving WWE back in August, of course, after his deal expired. Still think it was a weird thing to let him go, to be perfectly honest, on WWE's behalf. But a great get for AEW, and I assume obviously long term he's going to feud with Swerve Strickland. That seems the direction they've been heading in, with MVP already going at it with Prince Nana and slagging off his coffee or whatever. But let's not forget, on this week's Dynamite, Darby Allin issued an open challenge, always a good sign, that, for Wrestle Dream, saying anyone who wants to build their name off me, bring it. I've got nothing left to lose.
How far could Bobby Lashley throw
I was
Darby
about to
Allin?
say, I love Darby Allin, and let's not forget, he was just meant to be having a world title fight until Jon Moxley took it away from him. But if you want someone for Bobby Lashley to ragdoll, there's not many better, is there?
Yeah, absolutely. You could throw him so far, it'd be hilarious. I'm kind of fascinated by Bobby Lashley in AEW. I think he's one of the more interesting sort of options in terms of having a guy that will stand out on that roster. They don't really have that at the minute.
No.
And especially with the packaging surrounding MVP, I'm interested in what his job is going to be in the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got MVP who's kind of chairman, I guess. Then you've got Shelton Benjamin, who's the head of the complaints department.
Yeah.
Potentially Mercedes Moné, who would be the CEO, obviously.
Yeah.
So what's Bobby Lashley's job going to be?
Killer.
CFO.
Yeah.
He's going to be an accountant.
CMO, Chief Murdering Officer.
There you
he
go.
just kills dudes. Look, yeah, I'm the same as you. I'm really excited. Like, nothing against your Ricochets and your Will Ospreays going to AEW. That's also very exciting for very different reasons.
Yeah.
And I know they've got big guys like your Brian Cages and stuff in AEW, but yeah, like I said, I thought it was weird that WWE let him go. You know, multiple-time world champion on many occasions, and someone who it really felt like Triple H has really dropped the ball with. There's not many that's on that list, but I would name Bobby Lashley on there.
Definitely.
But it's also interesting because, like, you can't bring him in and not really push him to the moon, because look at him, he's Bobby Lashley, and I know they've got 1 million belts and what have you, but he's a world champion, isn't he? Nothing against the Continental or the TNT or whatever. Why would he bother himself with something like that, especially if a syndicate's coming in with him? But you've got Danielson, who's going to retire after he loses. Mox is obviously the next one in line for that. Hangman Page eventually is going to get back up there. Swerve, we just talked about, presumably is going to, unfortunately, be the one to be, one of the first to be sacrificed to Bobby Lashley, is building him.
Yep.
But he's, a former world champion. It's going to be an interesting few months.
You've got Okada there sitting on the sidelines, Ospreay there ready for whenever they want to push him up to the top. They've got a hell of a lot of potential world champions in that company.
I do think it'd be interesting because a lot of the times, obviously, they bring people in and they might flirt with a world title match, but it's rare that they come in and immediately just win it.
Yeah.
Like Ospreay came in and got a title match against Swerve, which was surprising, but he obviously unfortunately didn't win that one. If it's me, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with this Mox thing, especially if Danielson wins at Wrestle Dream. Bobby Lashley being the one to come in and just, Brock Lesnar on John Cena, just run through him and become world champion could be really interesting.
And don't forget, you've got Christian Cage waiting right there. He is the next AEW world champion. And if, after all, what's Bobby Lashley's dad's situation like?
Good point. You need to look that up. But also an interesting extra tidbit I want to add to this story, because we've talked a fair bit about Shane McMahon heading to AEW, but it's seemingly more and more likely. Moxley's cryptic promos and the like. Anyway, Mercedes Moné had a say on this in her recent newsletter, saying, seeing Shane's incredible heart and passion for wrestling makes me think he has a lot of unfinished business. It also makes me think he's coming to AEW. I'm here for it, and I'm sure our roster is too. And I'm sure as a content creator, I am as well.
Hell yeah. Bring on
chaos.
Chaos. Absolutely love it. But speaking of chaos, Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
The main event for Bad Blood has apparently been confirmed. This is coming from Ibu of Wrestle Purists. And it's not going to be Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Hell in a Cell is actually going to go on first. supposedly, with Roman Reigns and Cody going in the main event. Now, there is the rest of the card as well, so it's going to... I mean, it kind of sucks to be Bayley and Nia Jax in this situation, but it's going to be Hell in a Cell to open the show. Bayley versus Nia Jax, Balor versus Priest, Liv versus Rhea, and then into Roman and Cody versus Solo and Jacob Fatu. But yeah, anything trying to follow that Hell in a Cell match is going to be awful. I kind of... Like, if it's not going to be the main event, I kind of wish they'd just put it on right before the main event, just for the full, like, chip on your shoulder, like, follow this kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm conflicted by all this, because I've been campaigning, me and Hamlet recorded our predictions that are out on the channel right now for Bad Blood yesterday, and I said I thought the Hell in a Cell match should main event, because they always have a Bad Blood, of course.
Yeah, that was the point of Bad Blood, originally.
But also, it could be fun, as a final sort of test for Punk before presumably... getting on the road to heading towards the world title and a WrestleMania main event, being like, you don't get the main event just yet. That's Roman and Cody's spot. Sorry, mate. But they were already going to go just bonkers in there. They were already going to get double juice, bleed all over the place. So I don't want them to change the mat. You know, sometimes they like cover it over. Nah, I want the entire card to have their blood all over it. School. And them opening, I quite like this as top and tail. I mean, it just shows you what a huge show is. Only 5 matches, as you mentioned there, of course.
Yep.
It's difficult to argue against Roman and Cody, the 2 biggest stars in wrestling right now, main eventing, although it is slightly predictable in terms of result, unless either, one of 2 people show up. Hikuleo, and in a very different set of circumstances, because I saw someone create a fake account on X telling CM Punk to F off from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. It wasn't him. I saw it and got excited as well, everybody. I don't think The Rock shows up. No. I think if that's going to happen, it's going to happen at the earliest at Survivor Series. But they really are just poking the bear with Punk, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just, no main events for you.
What can you take?
I know it's the culmination of a 10-month feud, but you'll be opening the show. But I'm really, really excited for this show tomorrow night. I can't wait for it.
It's going to be good fun. And then we've got Gunther and Sammy on SmackDown as well. It's a hell of a weekend. Not on SmackDown, the other one.
On Raw. And Xavier going for the IC title.
Of course, yeah.
It's an exciting, and that's just a 2-hour episode of Raw. What's that going to look like as well? And in terms of being a British viewer of Bad Blood and going, do I stay up? Do I not? Will it keep me awake? Yeah, I think Hell in a Cell opening show will probably fire me up pretty goddamn well. So see you all on Sunday morning, basically.
Hey, that's the thing. You can stay up for Hell in a Cell and then watch the rest of it tomorrow if you want, and you don't have to go to bed too late, and you still get the live stuff.
Yeah, but Tiff might cash in on Bayley, and then it's just the dangling carrot of the dangling arsehole of Dominic Mysterio being in a shark cage.
Yeah,
and then the mega powers. And Priest and Finn. I think Priest and Finn's getting slept on a little bit. I think that's going to be a really good match as well.
Yep. Hella show.
Interesting to see how Punk reacts to this, though, as with every story within WWE. And speaking of former employees of Mr. Phil Brooks, AEW has been an ongoing thing with Daniel Garcia, of course. Loads of speculation as to whether he was going to be departing. He apparently, according to a report, I believe, from Fightful Select, he has not been backstage at recent AEW events, despite how big they've been with Grand Slam and the 5-year celebration, of course. He hasn't been seen since the all-out match with MJF, which was sort of weirdly booked. He lost, but he got his heat back, but then it was like, right, MJF's off telly and Daniel Garcia's disappeared because of the contract situation, we all assume. A very minuscule update on this, but a potential tease for what the plan is for the future, because I know Triple H and WWE have been sniffing around Daniel Garcia.
Yeah, they have.
He's added AEW to his Twitter bio, which guarantees he's definitely not leaving. All could just be a work, all could just be him wanting to change his Twitter bio to celebrate his time with the company. I don't know, but he's probably sticking around.
Probably. That's all we've got. It's a slow news day, what can we say? But let us know down in the comments below where you actually want Daniel Garcia to end up. I don't know where I want him to end up. I don't think he's had the full shake of it in AEW that you can do with him. But at the same time, people moving around is just fun. Yeah, contracts don't work like this. Certainly not when you know that the competition's trying to get him. But it'd be interesting to him to have 1 year extra in AEW, and it'd be like, show me what you can do with him. Yeah. Show me how far you're willing to push this man. Because I assume Ricky Starks is already out the door. Yeah. I assume he's heading to WWE whenever that situation gets resolved.
So that's almost not that they're the same person by any stretch of the imagination. They're all both absolute pieces, obviously. But like another interesting test, because yes, WWE can sit there and go, hey, AEW guys, come over here, look what we've done with Cody Rhodes and Jade Cargill. Not really fair to hold everyone to that standard, but I think WWE could do great things with Starks and Daniel Garcia. But yeah, I do want to see Garcia get that push that I think he's deserved for quite some time now within AEW. Get away from Jericho bollocks or anything like that.
Feels like unfinished business there, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think, putting him in a match with MJF it was a sign of intent. But we'll keep our eyes peeled on that, and any changes to Twitter bios or whatever, we'll see.
We shall see. But actually, I'm going to plug this before we go. But whatculture.com/shop, which I keep meaning to plug, but we just keep on forgetting. We've got some leftover merch from our live show in London earlier this year. So we have lovely What Culture t-shirts and t-shirts, a couple of t-shirts with mine and your face on, I think. They're the only two that are left. So they are very limited sizes.
We made 1 million of them, and we've only just nearly sold out.
Only just nearly. There's also wristbands and posters. Posters from the Daddy Boys live show and posters from our live show in London. That one over there, which is signed.
Stax has signed it as well.
There's something else on there as well. Maybe not. Can't remember.
The wristbands are class.
I forgot to wear mine today. Too. But whatculture.com/shop. Very, very limited supplies remaining. Worldwide shipping is available, so get on it right now.
Yes, if you do that, you're an absolute beast.
Hey, look at this guy. Speaking of beasts... potentially, we might be getting Mr. Beast in WWE.
We've blown this case wide open.
Blown it wide open. It's like it's a subtle thing. You've got to kind of read between the lines.
I'm listening.
There was a podcast thing on YouTube. It was Mr. Beast and KSI and Logan Paul all chatting about stuff, and eventually they start talking about WWE things.
Oh.
And if you read between the lines of these next kind of quotes, you might be able to figure something out.
I'm going to put my feet up for this exchange. I'm ready. Okay.
So, Logan Paul asks Mr. Beast, were you going to do something with WWE? And Mr. Beast says, I mean, spoilers.
That's the end of the quote.
That's it.
But
It was a really weird moment because they kind of awkwardly cut away from it straight away and was like into the middle of a conversation that was already happening. And that was that. But they left that bit in. So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah, you wouldn't rule it out, would you? At the end of the day, one of the biggest YouTubers in the world, if not the biggest.
The biggest,
Obviously, Logan Paul's done a great load of stuff within WWE, and they've referenced his Impulsive podcast on numerous occasions. KSI has done stuff, obviously, with the Prime connection.
Yep.
And now Logan Paul and KSI and Mr. Beast have got Lunchables, are they called? I always think of Dairy Lee then, so I assume there's some sort of copyright thing going on there. But like they also had I Show Speed, of course, getting RKO'd by Randy Orton, which was great. See you later, dickhead.
They're like dabbling in this world.
Yeah, and you can understand why at the end of the day they're trying to capture more of the youth audience and them say, I've lived it, like my cousin's kid, so is that second cousin? I never know how these things work.
Yeah, I've no idea.
His parents just randomly started talking to me about wrestling last time I was back home in Chesterfield because they were like, he's really into Logan Paul and has discovered that Logan Paul is a wrestler now.
What?
So that was a sort of, it's a gateway, isn't it, at the end of the day? And now if you can get someone like Mr. Beast, even if you have someone like Mr. Beast just, like you say, taking a bump or even just appearing on the show.
Mr. Beast isn't exactly as athletically gifted as Logan Paul.
No, no, that's fair. Or KSI. But yeah, in terms of WWE thinking, even if we can just get his name associated with ours and SEO and all that bollocks, I wouldn't be surprised. And they've been open obviously with Prime, so you could see Otis eating some Lunchables on Raw in a few weeks or something.
Who the hell knows?
But I think it's a smart move by all parties, to be honest. I think
makes sense.
I think those YouTubers of that age, us included, not with the same age, but if someone says, "Do you want to take a bump in WWE?" You go, I mean, yeah. You can almost choose who attacks you at that level of stardom. And yeah, for WWE, it's like, even if Mr. Beast just says, "Oh, did you see me on Raw the other week?" and half that audience goes, "What's this?"
Yeah.
It makes sense.
There was another big scoop in this as well, because I watched the whole segment, well, just the bit about WWE. I'm not going to sit there through the entire Logan Paul podcast.
It's one of the best podcasts out there that's not ours.
But there was another big scoop coming out of this, because Logan Paul actually admitted live on the podcast that he's not as good as Roman Reigns or Cody.
I mean, he's sort of 1A to that, isn't he? I think Logan Paul's an absolute sensation in the ring.
He is incredible.
I know, outside of the ring, what a great guy. But also, on the better side of things, Prime is delicious and you should feed it to your children. So, things balance out, don't they? I really like Logan Paul. I think he was, a surprise to all of us when he came in and you were like, what are you doing having these amazing matches? I don't think he's had a really...
He came out of nowhere. It was so dumb how just he took to it so easily, seemingly.
What if they have a run of Logan Paul, ISHO Speed, KSI, and then Mr. Beast in the Rumble? 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go.
Just the four of them squaring
and
up.
And then out comes, can't be that because he's world champion, so you can't have Gunther. Roman. There you go. Roman comes out at number 5 and kills all of them.
Braun Strowman, maybe.
Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed. There
Hope you
go.
like tsunamis, boys. I could see that happening. I think in terms of, I'm not really clued up on, apart from Simon Miller, famous YouTubers. So my only other suggestion is get that hot tour girl doing some sort of talk show, doing the talk tour, because LA Knight referenced that, didn't it? Let me talk to you.
Who would I pick? Those twins. What are they called? Soup twins or something? Twins. They're just like, I built 8 secret rooms in my brother's bedroom and he didn't even notice.
And then it's on it. Taker started getting like that on his pod, hasn't he? Maven said, what? Anyway, let us know your thoughts on everything discussed in the comments section below. And Logan Paul's podcast is great, but does it have a hashtag bloody good quiz? WrestleCulture does, and that's coming your way later on today on the WhatCulture Wrestling Podcast channel.
WhatCulture.
It is, it's celebrated 1 year, so thank you to everyone who supported that channel.
Go subscribe.
Yeah, please do.
Already.
We'll be live on there from about 3:30 UK time today with the WrestleCulture and the hashtag bloody good quiz. Logan Paul, take notes. But for now, why not check out this video right here? We'll see you soon.